Hey guys, today I am super excited because we are talking about my favorite makeup product ever, eyeliners. If there was only one makeup product I needed for the rest of my life, it would just be an eyeliner. So in my last video, I mentioned all of the liners that transfer on oily lids. And today we have 10 liquid liners that do not transfer on oily lids. I also do have hooded eyes, so if you have hooded eyes, these will work for you too. Okay, so before we begin, I do want to talk about the difference between brush and felt tip. I always talk about them and how I don't like brush tip because it's easier for me to mess up. So I noticed with brush tip, the wing is always sharper. Not all the time, but most of the time I notice that I have blacker ink. I don't know if the ink in brush tips are more watery and that's why they're not as black. With a brush tip, I don't know if it's gonna flick. I don't know if it's gonna press down and make a thicker line than I want it to. That's why I like felt tips. With brush tips, I feel like if you have more mature or thinner lids, the brush tip would flow better on your eye. A felt could really tug at your eye. Brush tips are also better over fake lashes. They just flow way better. And also, I just realized the other day, I was so confused why my best friend loves brush tips more. And I'm like, really? And then what I noticed is both my best friends, they have the prettiest big round eyes. And I just realized a brush tip would be perfect for round eyes because it has to flow in a curve. But then if you use a felt tip gives you straighter lines. So you kind of have to like jump to get around that curve. But with a brush tip, it just flows beautifully around eye. But since my eyes are more straight, it's easier for me to go like this with a felt tip. Now that we got the differences out of the way, let's move on to the eyeliners. So at number 10, we have Makeup by Mario. It is a felt tip. He went from number 4 to number 7 to number 10. Once I started trying out other eyeliners, he just kept going down the list. I noticed that every single time I wear him, I have to look back on Sephora to double check that he's waterproof because I always end up with some kind of smudge, or like if I tear up or if I cry a little, the ink being completely gone, and I always have to look up and be like, was he waterproof again? And each time I'm shocked. I was like, wait, he's waterproof? So this morning I put on the Makeup by Mario eyeliner. I put this on at 11 a.m. That's my OnlyFans, I told you. I have to tell the people on OnlyFans about this eyeliner. Put it on at 11. It is almost 2. Only 3 hours. I yawned and like a little bit of water peeked out. And look, she already bled out just from a yawn. Whether or not it says it's waterproof, it's not waterproof. And then you can see here, like there's already a gap of liner missing. So I wouldn't recommend him because he messes up a lot. Honestly, these bottom 5 you don't need. The top 5 are perfectly fine. Okay, at number 9 we have Tarte Sex Kitten. She has the cutest little kitty packaging. She is hard to open a lot. She is also a felt tip like Makeup by Mario. The Makeup by Mario one is a tiny bit longer and the Sex Kitten one is just a tiny bit fatter. But again, I know they look exactly the same. Since it's so firm, it kind of catches on my little crinkles here I have on my eye. Even though this is above the Makeup by Mario one, I just don't like that it gets really messy easily. Like I don't know why there keeps being a jump. But I've never had any crazy problems with her leaking over here onto my eye, or if I have some kind of watery eye, she doesn't get right here like the Makeup by Mario one does. They're both $24. The Makeup by Mario one is 1.2 ml and Sex Kitten is 1.4, so you do get more product with this. Again, nothing special. We have more felt tips like these coming up, but they are way better. We have Glamlite Calligrapher waterproof eyeliner. I thought she was going to be at the top. She is very thick. Out of all these, she will give you one of the thickest wings. Again, if you have hooded eyes or you don't have space, then she might not be for you. She is a little bit thick for me. Instantly, she will give you a thick line, which could be scary. And this might be too much if you do have, I mean, look, it's already taking up so much of my lid because of my hooded lids. But out of all the eyeliners, she will give you the thickest line if that's what you're into. I got her for $12 on TikTok, $17 with shipping. And on their website, it's around $24 including shipping. I honestly thought she was going to be at the top. TikTok was very convincing with their ad. She is shiny. I did mention that I don't really like the shiny eyeliners. The shiny ones give you like a weird crust at the end of the day. I will put a picture here of what it looked like. I don't know if you can tell, but up close you can see it breaking apart. Like there's sections of it looking crunchy And that's what I notice happens a lot with the shinier ones and also with the thicker ones. So she is a very thick eyeliner. So I guess that's why it's easier for her to crunch up. There's just a hard crust that forms. Okay, so today I have on the Glamlite. I've never seen cracking like this before. She has been on my eyes for like 12 hours now. I have to like speak quietly because it's past midnight, but I put her on around, I would say noon. I've had her on for a good 12 hours, but still I have never had any of my eyeliners crack like crazy like this. Like right there. Please do not look at my pores. But this is the most cracking I've seen out of any of the eyeliners. I've never seen cracking like this. So at number 7, we have Thrive Causemetics. This is their Infinity Waterproof Liquid Eyeliner Pen. So when me and my husband went to a music festival last year in Vegas, I compared her versus my favorite one size eyeliner. I'm shocked that both of them are good. Like it didn't transfer. Look how oily my lids are. Okay, it is 11:15 p.m. I put on my eyeliner at 10:15 a.m. So it has been 13 hours with both of these on. This is from Thrive Causemetics and this is the one size Patrick Star one. Since this is thicker, it is cracking more. Like you could, it's kind of like when gel hardens, that's what this formula kind of feels like, and you can see like some's coming off. Again, it's 13 hours, who cares? The only thing I care about personally is the transfer. As you can see, neither of these transferred up to here, so that's honestly all I care about. And the Patrick Star's flaking a little bit too, but I feel like this is a little bit better. Like you saw in the video, she did start cracking or have that weird crust like the Glamlite does, but I will take her over the Glamlite because she just looked better after that festival. She is the most expensive. She's $22 for 0.5 ml. All of these eyeliners are at least 1 ml or 1.2, 1.4, 1.6. She is half that and she's $22. Even though I like the feel of the Glamlite more because she is felt, it's darker, it's easy to maneuver. This is still more long lasting. But even with that, I just never want to grab her because out of all my eyeliners, she is the flimsiest. So if you remember what I was talking about with the Physicians Formula eyeliner, with it being bendable and can go in a way you don't want it to go, that's exactly what the Thrive Causemetics eyeliner does. Because again, she's also brushed and she is very flexible. See, like I'm drawing her and then I feel like I can just easily make so many mistakes with her. Because I don't know if, like, I didn't want that line. Since she was so movable and so flexible, she easily like wisped away on her own. So even though over here she's good. Oh, see, again, since she's very wispy, look, I just made that mistake. She's too flexible. I need a little bit of firmness. I do not remember the last time I had to wipe off my eyeliner and start again. I feel like when I was a teenager, that would happen a lot. I'll put that meme. You know, like when you draw a liner and then you have to fix it and the liner keeps getting thicker and thicker and then you just have to wipe it all off. I never had that problem for at least like 10 years. But when I got her, this was the first time I had to wipe it off and start over. So out of all my liners, she's a little bit frustrating when it comes to application. And even though she lasted so well through the festival, she's not something I would buy again. Okay, next we have Tarte Maneater. This is also a brush tip. So I noticed that she's one of the eyeliners that kind of like evaporates and disappears once any little bit of water touches them. Today I was testing out Tarte's Maneater. So I put this on at 11 a.m. It is midnight now. We drove from Vegas to home. And just like the other Tarte eyeliners, she does not transfer. So at least I know Tarte's eyeliner has always got my back. And my oily lids, you can see how oily they are and greasy. But this did take out a lot of pigment. I did cry and I feel like my tears didn't really touch my eyeliner. But I would say so far this is the one that's dissolved the quickest. You can see how it's like patchy right there. Even after using the double take for so long, it doesn't really dissolve like this. It more gets like crusty here on the edge. I will get more into her in a bit because I'm going to compare her to one coming up. But again, it's not an eyeliner you need. This is double the size of this. This is 0.5, this is 1 ml. This one's $24, this one's $22. At number 5, we have Serena Williams brand WYN Beauty. This is her Glideline Focus Black Waterproof Liquid Eyeliner. She is a felt tip. Out of all my eyeliners, every single one of them, she's the one that's truly waterproof. Every single one of my liquid liners that say waterproof is basically a lie. And again, I think it's because my oily lid breaks up the eyeliner so that once a little bit of water hits it, it dissolves. But with her, she doesn't do that. So even though she's almost expensive as the Thrive, she is also half the size of a regular eyeliner. She's 0.55, but she's actually worth the price compared to Thrive Causemetics. Plus, she's easier to get than the Thrive one. You could just go to Ulta and grab her versus paying for this and shipping. I used her for the first time full day. I put her on, I want to say around noon. She didn't budge all day. My eyelids got oily as usual. Taylor Swift's album came out, what, like 9 p.m.? I listened to it, I cried. So usually when I have an eyeliner on for a long time, my oily lids are breaking up the eyeliner. So I thought like, oh, now that I'm crying, it's gonna break up the eyeliner even more, but it didn't. So it was on from noon till midnight, oily lid, crying, and she didn't move. So I can see how this is a very good athletic liquid liner. She's not the blackest of liners. It's kind of annoying because when I draw her on, she's not a smooth black line. You can see the ink and the water like separating. Very watery, it's not pure ink. I have been wanting to kickbox for years, and we finally went today, and I was like, you know what, I wonder if this would be good during a workout. I put it on, we went kickboxing, there was sweating, sweat was getting all over my eyes. We got home, I cried a little, it still didn't budge. I'm gonna put her up there. So like I said in that footage, I wore her all day. I listened to Taylor Swift's new album. I started crying when I listened to Down Bad, and I was like, crap, I forgot I have eyeliner on. And then I went to the bathroom. She did not smudge at all. There have been so many times where I'm wearing eyeliner and I accidentally rub my eye and I'm like, dang it, because the ink always comes off. But with her, I don't know if it was that same day, but I could swear it was that same day where I had her on all day. I rubbed my eye and I looked at my finger and there was no ink. I ran to the bathroom and no ink smudged or dissolved. So yeah, she's actually worth the double in price. Again, I feel like she's perfect for a sporty girl if you're gonna sweat. I try not to use her because of the expense. I like using my more expensive eyeliners for when I need it, not for every day. She's not perfect. She does kind of separate. She's not that black. I personally don't care because she's very rare when it comes to a lot of things. I really love her. So at number 4, we have WYN Beauty's eyeliner marker. She is also a felt tip. She is the biggest out of all of these. She has 1.6 ml. Like I said, everyone else has 1 ml or 1.2, and she's only $19. Everything else is in their 20s, so she has the most liquid and she's one of the cheapest out of this group. She has a very unique tip. Both brush and felt tips kind of all look the same, but with her, I remember when I used her for the first time, I was like, holy crap, this is so easy to draw on. It's perfect for beginners. But she is definitely number 1 when it comes to easiest at drawing on your liner. Something about this structure, I don't know if the bottom's really thick, that it makes her sturdy, and she's not super hard because there are some felt tips where they're hard, where you kind of feel like you're tugging. She is so easy to draw on. Hey guys, so today we have on WYN Beauty's eyeliner. I put this on at 10:30 a.m. It is now 9, so it's been a little bit over 10 hours and she has not transferred, as you can see. I don't know if you can tell with the light or the shine, but my eyelids are very greasy. They have not transferred, but it is cracking like crazy, as you can see right there. I think this side is fine. But yeah, even though, as you saw at the music festival, because that was really hot, One Size Eyeliner and the Thrive Causemetics, they were both kind of cracking at the end of the day, but they were not this bad. And again, it was hot, it was sweaty, it was dusty, it was dirty. They still look better than this. So even though I will give it credit for not transferring, she's gonna be in the top 5, but she is the easiest to draw on out of all the eyeliners. You can see the sphere right there. YouTube's performing right now, actually. So even though she cracked and smudged at the end of that road trip, I'm still putting her at the top and above WYN, because honestly, if these two were just laying on my counter, I would be grabbing the WYN Beauty one more just because she's easier to draw with, and I would save her for an event. Okay, now at number 3, we have the One Size Point Made Waterproof Liquid Eyeliner Pen. I love her. I have been using her non-stop. Again, waterproof doesn't mean anything, but I did wear her on a day where I was crying a lot. She just lost a little bit of ink like right here, but she made it through. And as you saw at the festival, she was going really strong. She doesn't crack like the shiny inks, and I can just put all my trust in her. There's really nothing wrong about her. I mean, I just don't like the packaging. I always prefer the eyeliner pens that are just black because they look cleaner. But again, I have no problems with her. I love her. She's in between my top two because one's the cheapest and then one's more expensive, and she would be like in the middle of them. So I can wear her when I want to go somewhere, or I can also wear her for an everyday eyeliner. For the top two, we have Tarte's Double Take and NYX's Epic Ink. I am biased because I've had these the longest. I've had the Double Take since it's launched in 2016, and I've had the Epic Ink longer than her. I want to say even like a year longer than her. So I've been using these guys for almost a decade. So I know how they work. I know every flaw and every detail. So since I've had these, see, I always have so many backups of these, but since these are the only two eyeliners I use for years, and they never transferred on my lids. That's how I just assumed every eyeliner was. But then once I decided to step out of my comfort zone and start buying different eyeliners, that's when I was like, wait, is something wrong with my eyes now? How come they're all transferring? I didn't think to blame the eyeliners, since the eyeliners I always had never transferred. And it's funny because the more eyeliners I bought and tried out, it just made me love these two even more. So these guys have been with me everywhere, throughout the world, throughout different states, and they always got my back. But at number two, we are going with NYX Epic Ink. So I brought her with my family trip to Boracay. I wish I could read temp and humidity. This is NYX. This is NYX Epic Ink. I'm sweating balls. How many steps were there again? 200? 209 steps. And it lasted through all of the humidity and sweat. And Boracay is freaking humid. We're on an island. Humidity, sweating, and this $10 eyeliner works perfectly. Even though I love her so much, she does have a few flaws. I notice sometimes, again, because I've been through like 5 or 6 of these, so not all of them are consistent. Sometimes there will be a little leak. Sometimes the brush part, she's brush tip by the way, the brush part would be frayed. And that's my fault because without even looking, I just press her in there and like I mess her up. Again, I think since she's cheaper, I don't take care of her as well as I do my more expensive ones, but those are her little tiny flaws. I'm glad that we have at least one drugstore or cheaper eyeliner in this, because all the cheaper eyeliners I used all transfer on me, but this girl doesn't. So with the Epic Ink, the Tarte Maneater works and looks almost exactly like her, pretty much look identical. And that's why she's at number 6, because you don't need her. She's more expensive. They're both 1 ml. She's $24, she's $10. She easily dissolves, she doesn't. There's absolutely no need to buy the Tarte Maneater one. If you want a brush tip, then go for NYX Epic Ink. These are the only brush tips in this group, and yeah, you don't need these, just Epic Ink. So, like I said, before I bought the Double Take, I always just had the Epic Ink. But then when me and my husband were going on our Euro trip, if you look at my first ever YouTube videos, they're all videos of that Euro trip. And you can see me wearing Double Take. So she's my like go-to fancy when I'm traveling. And she's my at home. I don't care how much I mess her up. I can just buy another one because she's affordable. At number 1, we have Tarte Double Take. Dude, it's been 10 hours.
Since what?
We left.
Yeah.
I put this on at 6 a.m. It's now like 4 and there is no transfer. It did crack here a little bit, but I did put it on too thick right there. Oh my gosh, my eyelids are so greasy. It looks like I cried onto my eyelids. We drove for 6 hours, walked around the heat in a vegan food festival. But that was the greasiest my eyelids have ever been, and it did not transfer at all.
That's good.
Well, it's my, you know what it is?
What?
It's the one you chose for me that day.
Oh yeah.
Remember? We went into Sephora. We were going in because I needed a liquid eyeliner.
Yeah.
You literally turned around, grabbed the closest thing to you, and you said, how about this one?
Yeah.
And I went, okay, yeah, sure, why not? Oh, for Ireland, I was like, I need...
I'm not gonna remember that.
I do, but I remember...
How you do, I do not know.
But I was like, I need an eyeliner, and you just grab it, you're like, okay, let's go. And then it's been how long, and it's still working really good. I have really greasy, oily lids. And like, oh, and it's because of you, remember when we went to Crossroads? And you were like, babe, there's mascara on your lids. And I was like, that's not mascara, that's eyeliner. Okay. That one was the ColourPop. But yeah, that was, remember I told you like, thank you for telling me? 10 hours. And I'll probably still keep it on for 6 more hours. And like I said in that video, we went to Sephora. My husband just wanted to get out of there and he grabbed the closest eyeliner to him. This was a brand new launch. So I was like, sure, and I grabbed it. I love her for traveling because she both has a pencil and the felt tip. Again, she has a special place in my heart because of my husband. But with her though, compared to NYX, no matter how many times I buy her, there have been no flaws. She doesn't leak. She draws on a perfect black line. She doesn't separate. She's always consistent. She is a thicker felt. I want to say she's the second thickest felt out of all this. She instantly gives me a really thick line, like the Glamlite one, but the Glamlite one, that one instantly gives me the thickest line. If you have even more hooded eyes, like if your hood's almost touching your eye, then neither of these would be good for you because they're probably too thick. Like I wouldn't use these on my sister because her hood comes really low. So I would use a thinner brush with her. And I love her for traveling because she also has the pencil. And again, she's very consistent. She always stays on for so long. And honestly, I can't remember if I ever cried wearing these, but I did cry wearing her last week and she did disappear out here. So I was very confused. I was thinking, one, is it because she's new and maybe they changed the formula? Or two, is it because I've never cried wearing her? Honestly, right now, I can't think of a time I cried wearing her, but that's her flaw, that she kind of dissolves a little quicker when it comes to crying compared to, example, One Size. If I knew if I'm doing something where I'm going to be crying, I'm going to be using One Size or WYN. But if you don't want to pay this much, she's the most expensive out of all these. She's $26. And if you don't want to use the pencil liner, then you don't need her. Again, I'm biased because she's my favorite. So if I wasn't biased, I'd probably switch out the One Size and Tarte Double Take. I'd put her at number 3 for people and this at number 1. Because again, if you don't want a pencil, if you want a cheaper one, if you want thinner application, if you want one that can hold a little bit more when you cry, then definitely go with One Size. Again, you don't need her. The number 1 spot is biased for me. One Size and NYX would be the top I would recommend for my oily lid folks. So yeah, when it comes to Tarte, you don't need the Maneater. You don't need the Sex Kitten. You don't need the Double Take, but out of these 3, she is the best. So even after all of these, honestly, none of them are perfect. None of these eyeliners, along with my last video, are any that have everything I want in an eyeliner. If I was gonna combine a liquid eyeliner, I would get the design of the Urban Decay Ergonomic. That was so easy for me to draw on. I would get the felt tip of the WYN Beauty because she is the easiest one to draw on. I would combine it with WYN Beauty's ink. She is literally the only one where I've cried, where I've rubbed, where I've sweated. Only one who lasted and didn't dissolve. But she's not the blackest. And then I would probably use the Double Take one for the pigment because she is one of the blackest. So yeah, if someone was to create an eyeliner for me, use the ergonomic packaging, use the WYN Beauty design, use the ink in the WYN Beauty, and then use the pigmentation of Tarte's Double Take. Oh my gosh. I would be so happy. Oh my, that would be the best eyeliner ever, but it hasn't been done. One day there will probably be the best eyeliner ever, but today is not the day. So yeah, I think I covered everything. I hope you guys learned a few things or figured out which eyeliner you want now. Again, especially if you have oily lids and hooded eyes. And honestly, I think after this video, I'm done trying out new liquid liners. Again, I have 10 liners that do not transfer on me, and then I have like 13, 14 liners that do transfer on me. I think I'm done with buying liquid liners. I say that, but then I'm probably gonna buy a new one that comes out. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.